Well, it's a privilege to operate a motor vehicle on the highways, but the courts have ruled, and it's in my brief, it's a right to travel.
Mr. Black, good morning.
Good morning.
And your criminal charge is dismissed on Friday, is that right? Thursday.
I don't know. Well, thank you. How come I wasn't notified?
Well, that's not what you're here for today. You're here for the traffic infraction. I don't know.
Yet again, we've got a defendant convinced that the so-called right to travel means they can skip out on licensing and registration. Judges hear this claim constantly from sovereign citizen types, and they're not impressed. Notice how the judge doesn't waste a second entertaining it. He immediately brings things back to reality. Just because criminal charges were tossed doesn't mean you're in the clear. The traffic violations are still very much alive.
The police report states that I did produce my insurance, but it took me a while to find it.
Do you happen to have a copy of it with you?
Yeah.
Yes, you.
Should I approach?
Yeah, please.
It's in the middle of the big paragraph. Oh, it's on the last paragraph.
Right. Copy of whatever you showed the officer by way of the insurance proof.
Yes. Oh, it's on my phone.
Yeah, that's fine. Do you have your phone with you?
Yeah, but I let somebody, one of my employees, take care of that. And whenever I need my insurance, I ask him where it is. But it'll take me a while to find it if you need me to.
Well, see if you can find it while I'm reading this. So this is showing insurance for somebody, not you, for a car. I don't think it's the car it's identified here. Okay, it could be the vehicle. Who's Thomas Harris?
He's the employee that takes care of that. There's the vehicles, gets insurance for them.
And employee of yours?
Yeah.
And what type of business?
Biodiesel.
All right, and then the other thing to note here is that the insurance is purchased the day after the stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at 411. Stop was on 410.
Well, I can call. I'm sure it wasn't because when I called him, he produced this instantly. So I can call him.
Right. And you saw that, right? You saw that it said effective 411.
Yeah. Thomas, you're on speakerphone. I'm in court right now. The criminal charges were dismissed, but the no insurance charge. Remember when I called you when the police stopped me and you sent me a copy of the insurance card? Well, the insurance card looks like it was purchased the day after.
Maybe it's just been the wrong one. Tell them that tell them we have a different insurance card. We've got so many vehicles here. It's crazy. There's no way to get an insurance card that quickly when I'm working like that. The only thing I could do was send you some proof of insurance.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
So what did they say?
Well, you're on speakerphone now. I'm in court.
But you got to realize we're working around.
How could this possibly be purchased the next day? You didn't purchase insurance the next day, did you?
No. What they may have done is what they do is they renew the insurance every 6 months or so. And what happens is it automatically prints out ahead of time. And so what may have happened is they give us the card in advance, and then I get it online, and then I just put them in my phone. But I got so many cards in there that it's hard to find them.
Okay. I think that okay. Well,
I could, if you need me, I can look up and see where.
Well, let me ask the judge. Your Honor. Okay, that's all, Thomas. Thank you.
All right.
This part almost plays like a comedy skit. In the middle of court, the defendant actually puts his employee on speakerphone to prove his insurance was valid. The problem? The insurance card was issued the day after the stop. You can feel the judge's patience being tested, but he still allows the whole awkward call to run its course. In the end, he surprisingly rules in the defendant's favor. That moment shows both restraint and how far courts will go to ensure fairness, even when the defendant's case looks shaky.
Okay, so I'll find that the card you displayed is just the automatic renewal card that comes incidentally renewed the day after you got stopped. So I'll go ahead and buy that. Dismiss the ticket. Your criminal charges, they were dismissed without prejudice. Now, without prejudice means they can be refiled.
Mm-hmm.
So it's up to the prosecutor to decide whether they're going to refile them.
I prepared something for the court.
Without the prosecutor here, I can't make any decisions. I'll just share some general thoughts with you because I see you've got a subsequent driving suspended. Have a court date I believe in August on that. So my guess is, since you have a new charge right away, they may not be willing to dismiss the new charge, and they may resurface the old charge because, as I said, it was dismissed without prejudice. Now you're scheduled for court on the Tumwater driving suspended charge on the 5th of August.
Now things take a more serious turn. The judge carefully points out that the criminal charges weren't cleared. They were dismissed without prejudice. Translation: prosecutors are free to refile them at any time. It's like a shadow hanging over the defendant's head, and it's an important detail for viewers to understand. Dismissed doesn't always mean it's gone forever.
In this line are all read the exact same. Yours is not the exact same, but a lot of it says the state cannot regulate the driving, both commercial and private, on any public thoroughfare. You know, I read your arguments as to why you believe the freedom of travel means you can drive your public roads, which are paid for by the registration of the vehicle, by the way, in part, that you believe you can drive because you have the constitutional right to travel. That it's never been interpreted that way. So the constitutional right to travel does not apply to overcome the requirements that states have imposed to require you to register your vehicle and pay my registration fees every year because I have to, in order, if I want to put my car on the road. And I know if I put my car on the road with expired tabs, I'm going to get stopped, the fine, and I'll have to go get my car tabbed. I just know that's the way it works. And that's how the system is. So legal argument there, you know, you made it in a sort of a big way, but I think it's a misinterpretation of what you believe the right to travel is. It does not give you, not adhering to that state's laws, and every state has a registration law like the state of. So you've asked for my general.
Have you noticed that in courts, a car is referred to as a motor vehicle? Friend riding with you in the car is referred to as a passenger. You're engaged in traffic, and what the problem is, when a person registers his private property automobile with the state, he's declaring it a commercial vehicle.
No, that's your interpretation, and I'll just tell you that's not the interpretation shared by the courts. The law makes very clear that all of us who have vehicles that we put on our roads, they have to be registered. Doesn't matter whether we have passengers, no passengers, if we drive them ourselves or not, if we're engaged solely in personal business or moving from point A to point B. None of that exempts us from the requirement to really register our vehicles, which is used as a means of supporting the consumer.
Here we hit the core argument. The defendant insists the Constitution gives him a right to travel, so registration shouldn't apply. The judge dismantles that idea with simple logic. Yes, you're free to travel, but the moment you use public roads, you have to follow the rules that keep them maintained and safe. Registration fees pay for the roads we all drive on. That's why the sovereign citizen argument never holds water.
Yeah, you know what? You said you've seen a few of these. What compels people to do this is the state abusing its power to license drivers, as well as doctors and other professionals. If you don't behave the way the state wants you to in your private life, in your family life, the state, through the family court, can have your license suspended. And that's just strong evidence that the system is not set up to make the road safe, but to don't like that.
Yeah, I understand the philosophy behind that. We don't do anything here with suspending licenses or not. We just interpret whether the person has a license or doesn't have a license. That's the only rule of the court there. Now, I will say what you're referring to is the ability of the Department of License to suspend licenses for the failure to pay child support as
It's
ordered.
government support.
What's that?
It's not child support, it's government support.
Okay, well, it's called child support. And that's what it's, you know, if you look on your driving record, you have one of those things there that says, it says failure to pay child support. I understand there's a different way of looking at it. Not directly related to driving, I get that, but the legislature made that. They thought, how can we leverage people to pay what a court has determined they should pay for their children? And they decided that one good way to do it was to leverage to drive. So that's what the legislature decided to do. They created the law. Nobody has determined that law is unconstitutional.
A lot of people have, but they haven't taken it.
Right.
So in family court, the court rules don't apply. You know that. And due process is streamlined. So your driver's license can be suspended through a court procedure where it's a free-for-all. I've seen it.
Next, the defendant changes direction. He claims licensing isn't about safety but about control, pointing out that states suspend licenses for unpaid child support. And honestly, that frustration is understandable. Many people see it as government overreach. But the judge explains clearly that's a matter for lawmakers. Unless the law is struck down as unconstitutional, courts are bound to uphold it. That separation of powers in action, whether you like it or not.
Yeah. So I like I said, I understand the philosophy. When the case comes to me on a driving suspended charge, I look to see if your license is active or if you don't have the privilege to drive. It is a right. The law views it as a...
Well, it's a privilege to operate a motor vehicle on the highways, but the courts have ruled, and it's in my brief, it's a right to travel by your automobile, by your private property automobile.
No, there's no court. Like I said, you can look all you want, but nobody has ever found a case that says a court upheld the ability of some public roads.
Well, driving is a commercial term too.
Okay. To operate a motor vehicle in any regard.
That's even more a commercial term. Look at it.
To operate your car. No, there's no case that says you can operate
means
your car.
Using a business machine on a public utility.
No, that doesn't. Operate means I'm operating my computer. I'm operating.
That's a colloquial.
My pencil.
That's a colloquial term.
Well, then you're pushing your example into sort
Look
of.
Look at Black's 5th edition. You'll see that operate means using a business machine for gain.
Finally, the defendant makes one last desperate play with a word game, arguing that driving and operating only apply to commercial activity. The judge immediately shoots it down. No court has ever bought into that argument. Case closed. And with that, the judge firmly ends the hearing, leaving no room for debate.